Have you ever stopped to wonder where the internet actually lives? You know, all those photos you share, the data that's powering a million startups, every single song on Spotify, it all has to go somewhere, right? Well, today, we're going to demystify one of the biggest, most fundamental pieces of that puzzle, Google Cloud Storage. All right, let's open the doors to this digital warehouse.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at the infinite storage problem, basically why the old ways of doing things just don't cut it anymore. Then we'll talk about picking your digital garage. After that, we'll go beyond folders to really understand the key idea of an object. We'll see how this tech powers everything from Spotify to startups. And finally, we'll check out why GCS is called the cloud's Swiss Army knife.
You know, for decades, we thought about storage in a really physical way. You'd buy a hard drive, you'd fill it up, and, then you'd have to buy another one. But with the absolute explosion of data we're creating every single day, that model just completely falls apart. We needed a whole new way to think.
And this, right here, this is the huge mental shift behind Google Cloud Storage. The whole idea is to stop thinking about storage as a physical box you can run out of and start seeing it as this infinite, programmable resource. It's not about the hardware anymore. It's all about the software. And that one simple idea, it changes absolutely everything.
Now, when you hear the term cloud storage, it's easy to think it's all the same thing. But it's really not a one-size-fits-all deal. It's kind of like this. You probably wouldn't park a bicycle in a giant 10-car garage, right? You need the right kind of storage for the right kind of job.
So let's look at the two main flavors. On the left, you've got block storage. Think of this like a super fast, virtual hard drive that you plug into a single computer. It's perfect for things like running a database or an operating system. But GCS, on the right, that's object storage. And this is a totally different beast. It's not a hard drive. It's more like a ginormous warehouse. You don't plug it into just one machine. Instead, you talk to it using a special language, an API, which acts like a digital valet who fetches and stores whatever you need. This is what lets it scale to unbelievable sizes at a crazy low cost.
Okay, so to really understand this warehouse concept, we need to forget everything we know about traditional files and folders. The basic building block of Google Cloud Storage isn't a file, it's something way more powerful. It's the object.
Yeah, forget about those nested folders, folders inside of folders inside of folders. With object storage, everything just gets tossed into a giant container called a bucket. It's a totally flat structure. Every single photo, every video, every log file is an object, just living at the same level, and you find it by its unique name, not by clicking through a complicated folder tree.
So let's break down what an object really is. It's got three key parts. First, you've got the data itself, the actual video or image file. Then you have the key, which is just its unique name in the bucket. But here's where the real magic happens, the metadata. This is data about your data. You can add your own searchable tags, like labeling every single file related to Project Apollo. This makes your data intelligent and searchable in ways a simple file name could never do.
Okay, enough theory about objects and buckets. How does this stuff actually work in the real world? Well, let's look at some seriously cool examples, some of which you probably use every single day without even realizing it.
So picture a movie studio shooting the next big blockbuster. They're generating petabytes, that's thousands of terabytes of raw 8K video footage. Instead of buying a warehouse full of physical hard drives, they can just upload all that raw footage to a super cheap archive storage class in GCS. Then, they keep only the files they're actively editing right now in a faster, higher performance standard class. It's just incredibly efficient.
Or think about a huge global e-commerce website. You ever wonder why the product images load in a flash, no matter if you're in Tokyo or Toronto? Well, it's probably because they're stored in GCS. The system automatically makes copies of those images and puts them on servers all around the world. So when you load the web page, you're grabbing the image from a server that's physically close to you. That's the power you get when you combine GCS with Google's massive global network.
And security and compliance, they are a massive deal. A healthcare AI startup, for example, can store incredibly sensitive MRI scans in GCS. They can use a feature called Bucket Lock to make that data totally unchangeable, meaning it can't be deleted or edited for a set period of time. That's absolutely critical for regulations like HIPAA. And this creates a secure data lake that their AI models can then use to learn how to detect diseases earlier and more accurately.
And here is maybe the best real-world example of them all, Spotify. They use GCS as their main data lake, storing just an unbelievable amount of listening data. This lets them decouple their storage from their compute. Think of it like this. All their data lives in one giant GCS warehouse, and their processing power, the computers, is totally separate.
So when it's time to generate your personalized Spotify Wrapped, they can just temporarily spin up thousands of super powerful computers to crunch all that data. And once the job is done, they just turn them all off. They only pay for that massive processing power exactly when they need it. It's a ridiculously efficient and cost-effective way to operate at that kind of scale.
So all these examples show that GCS is way, way more than just a place to dump your files. It's really more like a Swiss Army knife for the cloud, packed with advanced features that let you build some truly sophisticated systems.
One of its most important superpowers is something called strong global consistency. What that means is, the second you upload or change a file, that change is instantly visible everywhere in the world. There's no waiting around, no lag. Some other systems have eventual consistency, where you might see the old version of a file for a few seconds. For a lot of apps, that immediate guaranteed update is completely non-negotiable. It's a game changer.
A huge part of using GCS smartly is managing cost, and you do that with these storage classes. It's simple. You match your data to how often you actually need to access it. If it's an image on your active website, you put it in standard class for the fastest possible access. But if it's a long-term backup you might only look at once a year, you can stick it in the archive class for literally a fraction of the cost. It gives you incredible control to fine-tune your spending.
This pipeline is a perfect example of GCS acting as the glue between other cloud services. So here, you have data from tons of IoT sensors constantly pouring into GCS. And what's amazing is that another service, like the data warehouse BigQuery, can analyze that data directly where it sits in GCS. There's no slow, expensive step where you have to move all the data first. This makes getting insights from your data incredibly fast and efficient.
All right, so let's quickly recap the big ideas. Number 1, GCS is scalable object storage, not just a big hard drive. Number 2 is the engine behind real-world apps we use every day, from e-commerce to AI. 3, it acts as the glue that connects tons of other powerful cloud services. And finally, number 4, those storage classes give you amazing control over your costs.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. The biggest takeaway is that by moving beyond physical limits, Google Cloud Storage doesn't just store data, it unlocks completely new possibilities. It lets us ask bigger questions and build things that, not too long ago, were pretty much unimaginable. So the real question isn't just about storage. It's, what problem will you solve with it?